Hey, so it's Ryan here from the Transformation Crew. I'm running you through this awesome presentation on how fat loss really works. See, for a long time, we've been told a lot of stuff about how fat loss works, and no one really seems to know. In fact, we're told things like it's your hormones, you have to eat low carb, you have to eat low fat, you have to eat high protein, it's your leptin, it's your ghrelin, do more cardio, do HIIT, do weights, take fat burners. It's all about portion control. How do we cut through all the noise? People are confused, so I want to end the confusion for you in this video. The way to do that is with science. Now, before you run away, stop, wait. I'm not going to bore you to sleep with a long, boring lecture on science, but at the same time, there's lots of scientific literature that shows exactly how this stuff works, okay? It's ignored in the media because they want to sell you shit, pills and stuff like that, but we're going to break it down here so that you have a really easy understanding of what you need to do. So first we're going to start with the principle of energy balance. Energy in versus energy out, okay? Or sometimes you might hear this spoken as calories in versus calories out. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, which means it's always converted to something else. So what this means is that if you bring less energy into your body than you expend, then you will lose mass, you will lose weight. And on the other side, if you bring in more than you expend, then you will gain weight. And if you keep the two roughly the same, then it will stay the same, regardless of any of those other things we mentioned a minute ago, your hormones, your carb intake, your protein intake, or whatever. That's what it comes down to, okay? So the three kinds of energy that we're most interested in when it comes to fat loss is chemical energy in the form of food, thermal energy in the form of heat, go LeBron, and then kinetic energy or movement energy, which is your exercise. Okay. Now, the body, when you eat food, it will store that energy, and then you can release it either by doing exercise or through heat. All right, and often usually the two go hand in hand, right? So your body is a result of all your inputs and your outputs, which I think most people think they know, but let's just go through this little example, okay? Here's a cool graph I draw for people. I know a graph, I said it wouldn't be boring. Please don't fall asleep sitting up in your chair. On the side here, we've got energy, so calories, all right? Most people talk about calories. And then down the bottom here, we've got time, all right? Now, if you've stayed the same weight for a while, okay, then you are meeting what's called maintenance. Your inputs roughly or exactly match your outputs, right? Now, this is for most people who, when they say they plateau, what it means is the amount they're bringing into their body through food is equal to the amount that they're expending through, through daily life, living, exercise, things like that. So we call that a maintenance, right? Now, um, to lose weight, we need to put the body into an energy deficit. We need to give it less than it currently needs to maintain. All right. Now, whatever that number is, the number will be different for every person. Usually, for most people, maintenance is anywhere from 1,500 to about 3,000 for the majority of us. So a deficit is going to be less than that, but it's individual to each person. All right, depending on your daily life and activities, depending on what your kind of exercise, depending on your diet. Regardless, we need to put the body in a deficit for it to consistently lose weight. Okay? Now, the opposite is also true. If you want to gain weight, this should say surplus, but if you want to gain weight, then you need to put your body in a surplus. So less common for women, but for guys, many guys want to get bigger and they can't work out why they don't grow. It's because they don't eat enough to satisfy their surplus. Okay? So regardless of what your goal is, you either need a deficit to lose, you need a surplus to gain, or you need maintenance to stay where you're at. So if you eat more calories than you use, you will store energy. You will store it as body fat. If you expend more calories than you eat, you will lose energy. And if your output is equal to your input, you will stay the same. So if you have been the same weight for a period of time now, and literally for like more than a week, right? If you've been the same weight for more than a week, then you are at maintenance and you need to change something for your body to change. It's not your hormones, it ain't your ghrelin, it ain't the type of carbs you're eating, nothing to do with that. You are just not putting yourself in a deficit. Hopefully, you're having a light bulb moment right now. Hopefully, this is making sense and you're like, you know what? I have been doing the same things. So, and one more thing, by the way, it doesn't matter if your calories, your energy comes from fat or carbs or protein. To lose weight, as long as there is a deficit, it will work. You can eat lower fat, you can eat lower carb to cut your energy intake. It doesn't matter which one you're eating. It doesn't matter if it's carbs or fat, you will consistently lose weight. Oh, and the opposite is also true. You can eat unhealthy food and still lose weight. You can eat Mars bars, and this has actually been studied. You can eat chocolate bars and still lose weight as long as you're in a deficit. And you can eat healthy foods. You can eat all the healthy foods in the world. I see this all the time with a particular group of people, and I'm not having a go, but vegans and vegetarians. They're some of the most health conscious people in the world. But it's so easy to overeat when you're eating lots of nuts and fruits and things like that. So you can eat healthy food and still gain weight or still stay the same. It's all about the balance. Let's look at an example. This is Jenny. Jenny is a badass and she wants to lose 5 kilos. So let's call her maintenance intake 2,200 calories or kilocalories as they call it. We'll just call it calories for now. She's going to create a deficit of 400 per day. So she's going to eat 1,800. All right. Don't worry about these numbers. I'm just chosen them randomly. They don't mean anything. So her deficit is 400 per day. Over 7 days, she'll have a deficit of 2,800 calories. Jenny will get leaner every single week. Yay. All right. But, and this is an example I chose because it applies to a lot of our members who eat really, really, really well, but they like their weekends, and Jenny likes a weekend as well. Jenny's a bit of a badass. So her maintenance is 2,200. She puts herself into a deficit of 1,800, but Monday to Friday only, right? So she's got 5 days a week of 400 deficit, gives her 2,000 deficit. And then on Saturday, she goes to party. She has 5 glasses of wine, which is not crazy. I think a lot of people do that. Not hard to drink 5 glasses of wine. She has some cheese and crackers. Well, if you're going to have wine, you may as well have cheese and crackers, right? Sunday morning, recovery brekkie, bit of extra toast. She's just a bit looser, maybe a Bloody Mary. And then Sunday night, because, you know, like, as people often say, she's already fucked it. So she's going to have some chocolate while she's watching Netflix. So now she's added back in 600, 250, 200, and another 400, right? So, which off the top of my head, 4,000, 1,450 she's put back. So her actual deficit across the week, minus 2,000, plus 6, plus 250, plus 2, plus 4, she's only dropped 550 calories, which isn't that much. It's a big number, but in terms of fat loss, it's not much, okay? And that's only if she's that controlled. It is easy to blow a whole week of great dieting with a boozy or a really heavy weekend. Okay, so hopefully by now you can see what I'm trying to say is like you need to create that consistent deficit. Otherwise, you can undo all your good work during the week. Now, what about exercise? People say, well, I exercise a lot, right? I'm out there training really hard. And I know for the people at our gym, because I see them, they exercise like maniacs. They're savages, right? They train really, really hard. They love it. So, look, exercise is essential, but you might have heard this before. You can't out-train a bad diet, like we've just shown, right? It literally only takes a few extra glasses of wine and a bit of cheese, and you can blow the whole week. Okay? Now, think about this example and tell me this hasn't been you before in the past. Let's call Jenny. We're talking about Jenny, right? Before Jenny came to us, she joined the gym. She trains hard. She lost 3, 4, 5 kilos in the first month. She was happy. She thought it would keep going, but then it plateaued. So she trained harder, or she went more often to the gym, but it really didn't make that much difference. Jenny quits, but she then keeps paying for a gym membership for 9 more months. The end. Jenny's out of the game, right? This is the most common scenario that I see when people join gyms. At the start, they start creating more of an energy deficit because they go from doing at home or no workouts and start doing some workouts, and so they increase their energy expenditure and they lose weight. But they don't change their diet, or they don't change it meaningfully enough to be able to continually lose weight. All right, so which exercise is best? Now, there's a lot of wild claims out there about how much workouts will burn. I know a lot of very well-known gyms around Australia that use tracking apps completely inflate their workout calories. Most workouts of around 45 minutes to an hour are going to burn somewhere between 300 and 500 calories, regardless of the type of exercise that you do. Most gym equipment overinflates the amount that you do, and it's not a good idea to base your intake on gym equipment, right? So which one's the best? Strength training burns pretty much the same amount of calories as other workouts. Okay, there are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, strength training is going to be your best bang for your buck, because strength training results in an increase in lean muscle mass, right? So it burns as much calories as most other exercises, but it also, especially when you do it right, okay, when you do it properly, it burns as much exercise, but it also results in an increase in your lean muscle. And we've got to think about lean muscle like the engine in your car, right? Now, if you've got a little 2-liter engine, 4 cylinders, it ain't using that much fuel, right? It's not burning a lot. Whereas if you've got a great big V8 engine, that sucker's going to chew through fuel so quickly. And it's the same for your body. The more muscle you have, and I'm not talking about being big or bulky or anything like that, but just the more lean muscle you have, the more calories your body uses just being around, just sitting in your chair, lying on the couch, watching Netflix, doing work, compared to when it doesn't have as much. So having more lean muscle and also burning calories through a well-designed strength workout is the best way to improve the look of your body. Now, hard truth time. You have to be consistent for this to work, okay? It will take an equal focus on food and exercise. It's not enough just to train hard, but you do need to still keep training. You have to create an energy deficit while also doing your strength training workouts. Okay, now the art of fat loss, and what we try and teach our clients, and what we try and teach you guys if you're watching this as one of our members, is how you make it fun along the way. Because you can eat the foods that you want to eat. I've never told anyone you can't eat that. I regularly tell clients how to fit pizza and beers and whiskey and chocolate covered peanuts and all sorts of stuff into their fat loss diets. But you have to be strategic about it, and you have to understand that if you aren't losing weight, if you're not consistently every week going down, it's not because the exercise isn't working, it's because you're not creating that deficit on a consistent basis. All right, hopefully that shines some light on what you need to do right now. If you're not a member at the T-Crew Gym, then please reach out to us. We can show you how to create a deficit without giving up the foods you love, and to consistently get those scales to tick down and bring out your beautiful lean body. I'm Ryan from Transformation Crew, and I'll talk to you again really soon.